Can you imagine being thrown out by your own parents for a lie, a vicious lie, told by your own sister? I never thought it would happen to me, but that betrayal, that cold, hard injustice, shaped every single thing I am today. I'm 30 now, and I've built a life that honestly, past me couldn't even dream of. But none of this success makes me forget that moment 8 years ago, when the people who were supposed to protect me believed the worst about me, just like that. My name is Alex. And even as a kid, I had this drive, this spark for business that nobody in my family seemed to notice. Growing up, all the spotlight, all the praise, it always went to my older sister, Emma. She was the golden child, the one destined for greatness in their eyes. I was just too sensitive, overlooked, ignored. Emma and I? We were never close. Our sibling rivalry wasn't just a squabble, it was something darker. Emma was, for lack of a better word, a narcissist. She'd twist things, lie, step on anyone to make herself look good. And my parents? They just ate it up. They'd brag about her smallest achievements and tear me down for things I never even did. I wasn't allowed to be vulnerable, not in their perfect family picture. Weakness was failure. The real turning point, though, hit when I was 22. I was just dipping my toes into the business world, hustling hard. Nights, weekends, I was building something from the ground up. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. Emma, on the other hand, was a mess. College dropout, bouncing from dead-end job to dead-end job, living in a house my parents bought her, bills all paid. And still, she complained. I was living at home then, just trying to save cash to fuel my dream. I paid my way. I wasn't a burden. But Emma hated it. She couldn't stand the idea of me getting any positive attention, even if it was just me quietly working on my future. So, she started planting seeds. Ugly, poisonous seeds. I still remember the night it all exploded. I was working late, per usual. My parents were hosting some dinner, the kind of family gathering I was never really a part of. Fine by me. I had my own plans. But I came out of my room to grab a snack, and then I heard it. My name. From Emma. I don't know why we keep letting him stay here, she hissed, her voice dripping with venom. He's doing nothing with his life. All he does is sit in that room, playing on his stupid computer. I bet he's just waiting for you to die so he can take everything. I froze. Just stood there, hidden. What was she even talking about? Then she kept going. I wouldn't be surprised if he's been stealing from you too. He's probably taking money when you're not looking. I saw him take cash from your wallet once, and I didn't want to say anything because I thought you'd think I was dramatic. But I think it's time you know. He's taking your money. My heart dropped. It was a cold, hard plummet. She was accusing me of that? I had never, ever stolen from them. I was busting my ass, trying to make something good, something real. But Emma, the master manipulator, she had no problem lying. That wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was my mom. My own mother. She didn't question it. Didn't defend me. Instead, she said, I knew something was off. I've been feeling like he's just using us. Maybe you're right. It felt like a physical punch. How could they believe her? Over me? The person who'd always been jealous? I knew they favored her, but this? This was too much. And I knew in that moment, I couldn't explain myself. Her word against mine. I'd never win. The next day, it all came crashing down. I walked downstairs to find them waiting, that cold, detached look on their faces, the one they had when they were about to drop a bomb. Alex, my dad started, his voice stern, we need to talk. A knot tightened in my gut. What's going on? We've been talking, my mom said, her voice flat, and we've come to a decision. We don't think you should stay here anymore. My mind just went blank. What do you mean? You're an adult now, Alex, my dad continued, crossing his arms. You need to take responsibility for yourself. You're not going anywhere with your life, and we can't keep supporting you. It's time for you to leave. I stood there, stunned. My heart hammered. I was living under their roof, sure, but I wasn't a burden. I was working, building. And now they were throwing me out like I was trash. I looked at Emma, standing in the corner, a sickeningly smug look plastered on her face. She didn't say a word, but I knew. This was her. She orchestrated all of it. Mom, Dad, this is insane. I finally managed, my voice shaking. You're going to believe her? She's lying. I haven't stolen anything from you. I've been working my ass off to make something of myself. But they wouldn't listen. They didn't care. Enough, my dad said, his voice hard. Pack your things and leave. I just stared at them. Everything I had been working for, everything I believed in, it felt like it was ripped away in an instant. Nothing. No support, no place to go. I walked out of that house that day feeling more alone than I ever had. But a vow formed in my heart, I would show them. I would prove them wrong. And when I succeeded, they would regret every single thing they did to me. After they kicked me out, I hit rock bottom. Truly. No safety net, no support system. But I refused to break. My determination, always there, now burned brighter than ever. With nothing left to lose, I pushed myself beyond my limits. I crashed on a friend's couch for months, pouring every spare second into my business idea. Late nights, long weekends, countless failures. But then one day, something just clicked. I'd been building an online business, selling a niche product. It wasn't flashy, barely a ripple at first. But I kept refining it, reinvesting every penny I made from side gigs. Slowly, painstakingly, things started to grow. I'll never forget the moment I knew I was onto something big. One of my social media ads went viral. Overnight. Sales exploded. People didn't even know they needed this product until they saw it. Suddenly, I had more orders than I could handle. I hired people, made the right connections, built a brand. It wasn't luck. It was years of grinding, of pushing through when everyone, especially my own parents, had written me off. By 26, my business hit a major milestone. 6 figures a year. Rapid growth. I was living in a beautiful apartment, far away from the toxic environment I grew up in. I reconnected with old friends, the ones who believed in me, and made sure my circle was filled with people who lifted me up. I kept working, expanding, diversifying. By 30, I'd achieved a level of success that seemed impossible when I was first thrown out. Multiple income streams, a well-established brand, enough savings to do anything I wanted. I bought my first house. Invested. Started thinking about helping others. It felt incredible to see my name on industry lists, to speak at conferences, to be truly in control. None of that, absolutely none of it, would have happened if my parents hadn't pushed me out. That bitterness, that deep-seated resentment, it fueled me. Every time I thought of how they discarded me, it pushed me harder. Their rejection became my engine. I had everything to prove not just to them, but to myself. But here's where things got messy. As my success grew, so did my parents' attempts to slither back into my life. It started small, texts, calls, asking how I was doing. I ignored them. They never apologized. Not once. And I wasn't about to let them back in without some real accountability. But then they escalated, showing up at my business events, conferences, even my house. My mom sent me flowers on my birthday. My dad emailed me, saying how proud they were. It felt suffocating. They wanted to be part of my success, but they wouldn't acknowledge how they'd wronged me. They completely bypassed the 8 years they threw me away. Then it all came to a head. I was at a networking event, turned a corner, and there they were. Both of them, smiling, pretending everything was normal. But I saw the desperation in their eyes. They wanted forgiveness. They wanted to pretend it never happened. They approached me cautiously, my dad offering a tentative handshake, my mom with an awkward smile. "Alex, it's so good to see you," my dad said, his voice forced. We've been following your success. We're really proud of you. I stood there for a moment, letting the silence hang, trying to keep my voice steady. Really? I asked, my voice flat. Proud of me now? After everything? My mom stepped forward. Alex, we've made mistakes, but we want to make amends. We want to be part of your life again. Part of me wanted to unleash all the anger, all the hurt that had been boiling inside for years. But I stayed calm. I had a better plan. You want to make amends? I asked, letting the words hang in the air. You want to be part of my life again? Of course, my mom said quickly. We've always loved you, Alex. We just... No, I cut her off, holding up my hand. You haven't always loved me. You kicked me out because you chose to believe a lie my sister told. A lie that ruined my life for years. You don't get to just waltz back in now that I've made something of myself. The silence between us was thick, heavy. I saw the guilt flicker across their faces, but they still couldn't admit it, not fully. They just wanted back in because they saw my success. My dad tried to deflect, his voice shaky. We're sorry, Alex. We were just trying to do what was best for you. But we can see now. Best for me? I interrupted. You threw me out because of a lie. You never even questioned it. You believed her over your own son. You didn't care what I was going through. Do you know what it felt like to have no one on my side? To be left alone with nowhere to go? I had to fight for every single thing I have now. And you don't get to just show up and act like everything's fine. Not without acknowledging what you did. I saw it now. Their guilt, their shame. But it wasn't enough. Not yet. My mom opened her mouth, but I wasn't done. And I'm not going to forget it. So don't think this is some kind of happy family reunion. If you want to make amends, you'll have to do a lot more than just show up at my events and say, we're proud of you. You're not getting back into my life just like that. Not without consequences. As my words hung in the air, my parents shifted uncomfortably. Their smiles completely vanished. And for the first time in years, I saw what looked like genuine remorse in their eyes. But I wasn't ready to let them off the hook. Not yet. My mom's eyes welled up, but I refused to give her an inch of sympathy. After everything they'd done, after years of silence and distance they forced on me, I wasn't about to feel sorry for them. They broke my trust, and no amount of tears could fix that. I know you're hurt, Alex, my mom said, her voice trembling. We made a mistake. I see that now. I just want to make it right. You can't make it right. I snapped, cutting her off. Not just like that. You can't erase the last 8 years of my life. You can't pretend you didn't turn your back on me when I needed you most. You don't get to waltz back in and expect everything to be okay because I've succeeded. You don't get to rewrite history. My dad looked like he was about to speak, but I stopped him. No. You don't get to say anything else. You can apologize all you want, but you'll never truly understand what you did. And you don't get to decide when I'm ready to forgive you. That's not how this works. For a moment, they both stood there, defeated. But I still wasn't done. There was one more thing. You want to make amends, right? I asked, my voice cold. You want to prove to me that you're truly sorry? Then I'll give you a chance. A real chance. But not until you've shown me that you understand what you did. And here's how you'll do that. My parents exchanged a nervous glance. My dad opened his mouth, but I raised my hand again, silencing him. First, you're going to publicly apologize to me. I want a full, sincere apology. Not some vague, half-hearted message. You're going to admit to everyone what you did to me. How you believed a lie over your own son and turned your back on me when I needed you most. My mom's face went pale. Alex, I don't know if... You don't get to decide what's too much, I interrupted. I've had to live with the consequences of your actions for years. If you want to even begin to make things right, it starts with owning up to what you did. You'll tell the world the truth about what happened. And not just that. You'll apologize to my friends, To the people who stood by me when you abandoned me. You'll apologize to everyone who's been there for me in ways you never were. There was a long, uncomfortable silence. I saw the hesitation in their eyes, the reluctance to fully admit how wrong they had been. But they knew I was serious. I wasn't going to let them back into my life without them proving they had truly changed. You want to know what else? I continued, my voice getting colder with each word. You'll also take full responsibility for what happened with my sister. You'll admit that she was the one who lied, and that you let her do it. That you let her tear our family apart. You'll tell everyone the truth. Not just about me, but about how she ruined my life. How she manipulated you into believing that I was the bad guy. My parents flinched at the mention of my sister, exchanging a quick, worried glance. But I wasn't done yet. After you do that, I said, then, and only then, will I even consider allowing you back into my life. But don't expect me to just forget everything. You'll have to prove to me that you're not just trying to take advantage of my success. You'll have to show me that you truly understand how deep the wound goes. I could see the struggle on their faces. They were torn, unsure whether to fight back or comply. But in that moment, I didn't care what they thought. I had the upper hand, and I wasn't letting go. Finally, my dad spoke, his voice low and hesitant. Alex, we didn't know. We thought you were just going down a bad path. We didn't see how much you were hurting. I shook my head. You didn't see because you didn't care. You never cared enough to ask the right questions. You never cared enough to find out the truth. And that's something I'm never going to forget. My mom stepped forward again, her hands trembling. Please, Alex. We know we made a mistake. We're so sorry. We want to make it right. Please don't shut us out forever. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my composure. I could feel the rage building inside me again, but I knew I had to stay calm. This wasn't about winning in the moment. This was about making them understand the consequences of their actions. You want to make it right? I said, leaning in closer. Then prove it. Prove that you can take responsibility for what you did. Until then, don't expect me to let you back into my life. I'm not some charity case you can just use when it's convenient for you. I'm not going to let you erase the past. You'll have to live with it. With that, I turned and walked away, leaving my parents standing there in stunned silence. I could hear them calling my name, but I didn't look back. I couldn't. As I left the event, I felt a strange mixture of satisfaction and anger. Part of me felt like I had won, like I had finally stood up for myself after all these years. But another part of me was still so angry. Angry that they thought they could just waltz back in after all the damage they'd caused. I wasn't ready to forgive them. Not yet. But I was ready to make them work for it. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I didn't hear from my parents for a couple of days after that confrontation. I think they were both shocked and humiliated by the demands I'd made. I knew they wanted to avoid taking responsibility, but I wasn't about to let them off the hook. I wasn't playing games anymore. This was their chance to prove they understood the depth of what they'd done, and I wasn't going to make it easy for them. Finally, my mom called me. She didn't ask to meet, just requested a phone conversation. I could tell by the way her voice shook that they'd been discussing it for a while. We thought about it, Alex, she said. We understand what you want. We're willing to make things right. We'll do it. A cold satisfaction washed over me. They didn't get to just walk in, apologize, and assume everything would be fine. They had to show me they were truly sorry. They had to prove they could own up to their mistakes in the most public way possible. I didn't let her off easy. I want it on social media. I want it public. You'll write a full post on whatever platform you use. You'll tell the world what you did. Tell them how you believed a lie and kicked your son out. Tell them how you turned your back on me when I was struggling. Make sure everyone sees it. There was a long pause on the other end. I could almost hear her trying to collect herself, probably wanting to negotiate. But I wasn't negotiating anymore. I want everyone to know exactly what happened. I want the people who followed your lies to see it. I want my friends, your friends, and our extended family to know how you turned your back on me." My mom sighed, the sound of defeat heavy in her voice. "All right, Alex. We'll do it. We'll tell everyone the truth. But after this, after all of this, will you at least try to move forward?" I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I took a deep breath, reminding myself of everything they had put me through. The years of silence, the pain, the humiliation. They hadn't changed that much. "No," I finally said, my voice steady and cold. "Once you do this, I'll consider it. But until then, I'm cutting contact with you." She was silent again, and for the first time, I realized how much my words were affecting her. She didn't say anything for a while. Then, very quietly, she muttered, "I understand." I didn't respond. There was no point. It was time for them to face the consequences. A few days later, my parents did what I'd asked. They posted on their social media accounts, publicly and with no room for ambiguity. My mom wrote a long post with a picture of me from when I was younger, right before everything fell apart. In it, she detailed how they had kicked me out after believing a lie my sister told. She admitted how they had wrongly sided with Emma, even though deep down, something didn't feel right. She apologized to me for turning their backs on me, for not being the parents I deserved. She expressed regret for the pain they had caused and how they now understood the gravity of the situation. My dad posted a similar message, though it was shorter and less emotional. He apologized for not listening to me and for believing the worst in me without ever giving me the benefit of the doubt. He admitted that he had been wrong, and while it was too late to undo the damage, he hoped that somehow, some way, I would forgive them. The posts were there, out in the open, for everyone to see. The people who had sided with my parents during the whole mess saw it. The people who judged me without ever asking my side of the story, they saw the truth for the first time. But did that make things better? Not for me. I knew my parents were only doing this because of my success. I could tell from the tone of their messages that they didn't fully understand why I was still so hurt, so cold toward them. They had apologized, yes, but I knew the apology wasn't truly for me. It was for them. They wanted to ease their own guilt, and they thought this would fix everything. But I couldn't be fooled anymore. I never responded to the posts. I didn't comment, didn't message them privately. I knew that anything more would just be me giving in. The truth was, I didn't need them anymore. I had built a life for myself, one without them in it. I had succeeded. I had moved on. And I had made peace with the fact that some relationships were better left in the past. When I saw the notifications that my parents had tagged me in their posts, I just ignored them. I didn't need them to validate me. I had done everything I needed to do. I had proven I could make it without them. And that was enough. A couple of weeks went by with no contact. Eventually, I got a message from my mom. Just a simple text saying, "We miss you." But by then, the damage was done. I couldn't unsee the years of neglect, the hurt they caused me. I couldn't forget how easily they had cast me aside for a lie. I didn't respond. And that was the end of it. I know. I may sound harsh. But am I wrong for holding on to that anger? People tell me family is everything, that I should have forgiven them. But I can't shake the feeling that they only came back because they saw my success. They didn't care about me back then. So why should I care about them now? I've moved on, but is it wrong to still feel this way?